We're going to be talking about helmets today. The focus really is to understand some of the safety ratings, kind of like what you're looking for when it comes to buying a helmet, because you want to protect your skull and protect the brain that's inside of it. Also your airway, that's kind of important. And so we're going to be going over some of these helmets. The safety ratings, kind of like a little bit of the fitment, what helmets that I recommend, some of the stuff that I've seen through a lot of crashes and close calls, and why really a full face helmet is the one you want to get. You don't want to get a 3/4 or even a half helmet. This is what I started off in. But with my knowledge that I've learned, I've decided, you know what, we're going to just do full face. But anyways, we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking a little bit about kind of like the fit and comfort on some of these things and what to look for when you're out there looking for a helmet. But let's go ahead and just start off. I'm going to go ahead and take the one I currently use, and we're going to come over here. Got some talking points right here. The main thing here is we're going to be talking a little bit about the safety ratings. So right here is, let's go ahead, come on. There we go, the safety ratings. These are what the safety ratings you'll typically see on the back side of a helmet. And let's go ahead and bring that back up here. If you can see, it says DOT, and then on the bottom it says ECE and a bunch of different little numbers. That's what you're going to want to look for when it comes to a helmet. In the United States, DOT, Department of Transportation, is going to be the main thing there. And then ECE is the European version of basically safety ratings. They do it for a lot of stuff, not just motorcycle helmets. And I like to make sure I get an ECE rated helmet, not just a DOT helmet. And the reason why I do that is because DOT is a post-market testing. So people can like make a helmet, slap a DOT sticker on it, and it can be on the market for years, and the federal government will have to test it after the fact, and sometimes they don't really get to it. But ECE, the one that I like, they do pre-market testing, so they do all the testing and then they can actually put it out on the market. So if you're in America and you see an ECE helmet, you know that it's been tested before it's been put out on the market. So I always get an ECE, and well, in the United States, DOT, because it has to have DOTs, but ECE is what I look for. So I don't just grab a DOT only helmet. Now this is a full face helmet. This is from Voss. I've done some affiliate stuff with them, and I decided to buy my own helmets from them and made some money back just from doing a few sales. But the main thing here is that I get a full face helmet, and this is more of like an adventure style helmet. You can tell by the little top visor here, but it's a full face helmet. And the reason why I get a full face helmet is because of this big boy right here, the chin bar. It's gonna protect my airway, it's gonna protect my face in case I go head first into the ground after a crash, which typically happens. So natural reaction is that when you hit something, you're gonna fly forward or you're gonna put your hands down, but your face typically hits because you can't really protect yourself. You can't really hold yourself up after a crash and do a really good push-up. So having a chin bar is really helpful, because if I do crash and hit my face, I'm not only gonna mess up my beard, but my jaw and the airway itself. And so even if I don't have a traumatic brain injury or anything like that, but I can't breathe, well, guess what? I'm not gonna survive. So I want a full face helmet. Also, it comes with a nice little visor, or I'm sorry, face shield. And if you can tell right here, this little button looking thing, and then it almost looks like a double pane window. This is what's called the pin lock. I don't know if you can see that there, but a pin lock. And what that does is that some helmets have face shields that are ready for that. And when you're out riding in colder weather or any other type of weather that's gonna be like foggy, just different temperatures outside versus inside your helmet, because you breathe out some warmer air, it's gonna fog everything up. So the pin lock actually prevents that fogging, and so it's really nice. And you can also put, you know, like anti-fog spray on your helmets or your face shields, but make sure you get the plastic one, not the glass one, because the glass will eat the plastic. So a little tidbit there. But we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about the next kind of helmet, which is going to be this helmet right here. This is going to be a modular helmet. Now, modular helmets are pretty cool. I like modular helmets, and the reason why I like modular helmets because they're modular. They flip up like this. So now it turns into a 3/4 helmet, so it's gonna cover the base of the skull and then around the front, but not the face. Now, you don't wanna be riding with this up all the time, actually at all, because if you do crash, this can hit the ground and it's gonna yank your neck and yank your head, and that's not a good thing. So ride with it down, and it's a full face helmet. Same thing, has a little pin lock system involved. You're gonna find modular helmets in different brands. This is once again a Voss helmet. But these are really cool because if you're out riding for a long time and you're riding with a full face and you want to get off the bike and you're going to fill up your gas, or you want to go into the store and you want to be able to talk and listen and hear a little bit better, popping this open to talk to the clerk. You can grab yourself a drink or whatever. You can also eat and drink with this on. It's a little bit harder because chipmunk cheeks, it's going to be squishing your cheeks a little bit, but still you can take a nice little sip and then not even take the helmet off and pop it back down. So I really like these helmets. They're also really good for parking lot exercises because then you can like take a quick break, pop it open, and then you can have some airflow. This is a full face helmet. Once again, this is a little bit different than the one I have because there is no visor on the top. This is more of like a street riding helmet. Once again, another Voss helmet. As you can tell, it has a nice little chrome front. I like to have the clear on my helmets because then I can slide some glasses in. And then if I get caught out at night, because if I'm riding at dusk or whatever, and it gets darker, I can still utilize the clear, and then I just have my sunglasses like in my pocket or something. So you can always have that. And then some helmets, this is the cool thing, I'm going to bring you over here. So if you have a clear face shield right here, you can use this at night, but if you're out riding and you're like, I really want to have some sunglasses, you can go ahead and pop this down, and if this is clear, you can see through. So this is right now having like 2 sunglasses on. This is just having that one. And this also has, this is more of a, see, you can see that right there. Let's go ahead and pop that open. So nice little sunglasses. And then it's like, oh no, it's getting a little dark out. So then they usually have little buttons like this on the sides. It all depends on the helmet. Gets a little dark out, I can pop that back up. Once again, I use sunglasses, a little bit easier for me. I like them, but these are the helmets right here so far. So this is also a full face helmet, but this is also more like a dirt bike type helmet. If you notice, there's no face shield at all. So if you are going to be using something like this on the street, make sure you have some eye protection, like sunglasses. You're going to get a lot of wind noise in there. And one of the things with helmets is that I like to have earplugs so I can protect my hearing. A lot of people are like, I don't want to use earplugs because then I can't hear anything. It actually just removes a lot of the wind noise, which is going to be the damaging noise that you're going to get. And I can still hear music, and I have the old Cardo Pack-Talk Bold on this one. So I can still hear music, I can still hear the directions, I can even hear traffic, I can even hear my engine and any road noise. I just don't hear that deafening wind going on. So let's go ahead and take this out and put it right here. Now what we have right here is a 3/4 helmet. If you notice on the modular helmet, when it's popped up, it becomes a 3/4 helmet. This is a 3/4 helmet. This is one of my first helmets. And once again, it's only going to protect the base of the skull, the tops and everything, but it's not going to protect the actual face. You can get face shields that will protect your eyeballs in case you have like any road debris, maybe rocks or bugs. But even at a crash, that little face shield is not going to protect your face itself. So that kind of sucks. I don't recommend 3/4 helmets unless you just want to look cool and whatnot. But once again, you're taking that risk, and that's not a risk I want to take. Now, I won't even buy a half helmet because I don't want to really support half helmets. So this is like a bicycle helmet that I have. This is basically a half helmet that you can get for motorcycles. And once again, all it does is protects the top of the head and maybe a little bit in the back, but even some of those don't even protect the back. And I treat them just like they're bicycle helmets. There's not going to protect the sides of the face, your ears, and your face at all. And I want to protect everything, especially in a crash. And honestly, I really love full face helmets. They keep my face warm when it's cold. And even when it's hot, I don't really notice too much because what we have here, and most, if not all, full face helmets have these, is that they do have vents, okay? So there's little vents right here. It's gonna allow airflow to come through. Also, you have a little vent on the chin, so it's gonna have airflow come through. And on the back side, you typically, let's go ahead and grab one of these other ones. On the back side, you're typically gonna have the vents, okay? So what that's doing is an exhaust vent. What that's doing is that it's putting airflow through the top of the head. Let's go ahead and get over here. The top of the head, it's gonna pull air and it's gonna exhaust the really warm air out the back. So it's gonna take that nastiness and it's gonna allow you to be a little bit cooler Some helmets have way more ventilation, some helmets have less ventilation, but it all depends. So if you are out shopping and it's really, really hot weather, try to find something with a little bit more ventilation, but they pretty much do a good job. So when it comes to fitment and everything, we typically have 3 sizes of heads shapes, okay? So we have long oval, intermediate oval, or round oval, and it kind of sounds a lot like what it is. So let's go and start with the 2 that are pretty obvious. So we have long oval. So what that's doing, if you can see the top of my head, long oval is more like shaped like this, round oval is more round, intermediate oval is in the middle, intermediate in the middle. Most Americans and Europeans typically have intermediate oval. It's one of the more common head shapes. And so a lot of manufacturers make intermediate oval head shape helmets. And what that means is on the inside of the helmet, basically where the rim of the skull, that's where it's measured. And so when you're wearing a helmet, if you are, let's say you're a long oval head, so it's more of like a cone, but from the top point of view, like this. If you have any other type of helmet, let's say you have an intermediate oval helmet or a round oval helmet and you have that long oval, you're gonna feel pressure on the front of the skull and the back of the skull. So like right here or right here. And what that's gonna do is gonna cause a lot of pain. It's gonna cause headaches when you're out riding, and you're gonna know you're not gonna have the right size helmet or right fitment of a helmet. And you're not gonna wanna wear the helmet after a while because it's gonna be causing pain. So you wanna get a long oval helmet for your long oval head. Same thing with intermediate oval, same thing with round oval. Arai, Shoei, and a bunch of other manufacturers, they do make different sizes and shapes basically on the model. So you want to go ahead and go to like a Cycle Gear, Revzilla, or whatever it is, wherever you're at, and try on some helmets. And if you feel pressure on the front and the back, you probably have a round oval helmet on your intermediate oval or long oval head. If you feel pressures on the sides, you probably have a round oval head and you're trying on an intermediate oval helmet. So you really want to find that helmet when the same size and same shape as your head. And then also, I'm going to go ahead and use the, let's go over this one. Also, when it comes to the cheek pads, they will squeeze on your cheeks. You're going to get little chipmunk cheeks. You're gonna get like this a little bit, and that's fine, that's typical. These will wear in just a little bit, but not a whole bunch. So if you are trying it on and it's really pushing on, and even if you're just trying to breathe, you bite the sides of your cheeks, might be a little too squishy, and too stiff on the cheek pads. Some cheek pads do have inserts that you can take in and take out depending, and then some manufacturers can actually, you can replace the cheek pad with either a smaller one or a bigger one depending on your needs. So make sure you check that out too, but it's okay to have a little bit of the little chipmunk cheeks. It's just gonna be more snug. And also when you try it on, you don't want to have it rotating on your top of your head. You don't want it loose. I think this one might be a little bit looser because I've worn it in. And that's another good point, is that after a while it will get loosened up. So you don't want it like doing this on your head and super loose. You also don't want it super tight, giving you a headache. You want it snug. These helmets, well, most helmets will last about 5 years. So if you have one that's a little bit old, make sure you replace it after about 5 years. If you're in really hot weather or you use a lot of like different sprays or a lot of conditioning or whatever, the chemicals will actually deteriorate the polystyrene foam, which is the foam that's on the inside of the helmet. This is like the hard candy shell right here. This right here is fine, but on the inside you do have styrofoam basically, okay? And that will degrade over time. Typically 5 years will get too hard and then it'll be brittle. You want it a little bit new, and so like the chemicals, a lot of sweat, a lot of grime, a lot of dirt can actually degrade the chemicals. So maybe about 3 to 5 years you want to check. And how do you know how old your helmet is? Helmets have a manufacture date. Let's see if I can find one here. They do have a manufacture date. There we go. So this helmet, you can see on the bottom left, it says November 2021. And so this helmet is going to be 3 years old pretty soon. So we're getting close, but I haven't worn this a lot, so I think I can get another 2 years out of this helmet. So if you're out there shopping and you see like a really old helmet, like you check the date and it's like 2 years old already, brand new on the shelf, maybe see if you can find one in the back, kind of like checking for milk, or at least, you know, find a different place to buy, because they might be trying to sell off old stuff. Also, when it comes to buying a used helmet, I don't recommend buying used helmets. It's just not a good idea because you don't know what they did with that helmet. The outside of the helmet could look great. They might have never really bumped it, but they could have hit really hard. It doesn't show a lot. Maybe they buffed it out. But on the inside, the polystyrene foam could be cracked. That's not good. If you do drop your helmet accidentally and you have a small little scrape or scratch on the top here, it's probably fine, especially if you drop it from like right here, like you're walking around and accidentally drop it, it should be fine. But in a crash, no, just replace the helmet, it's done. It's just done. Retire it, put it on the wall like if you're a hunter and you put some old heads on the wall. Just keep it for funsies. This is definitely this is at least a decade old. Definitely not gonna wear this when I'm out riding. It's a good visual though. And so double check the ratings, make sure you're checking for fitment. Get yourself a full face helmet, and then also, you know, get the helmet that works for you. If you wanna get a 3/4 helmet, okay, cool, because it's really hot out, you want that wind, that's perfectly fine, just understand you're taking that risk. Also, if you wanna get a modular helmet because you like the ability to pop it up and down, pretty cool. That's fine if you want to do that. Make sure you ride with it down. I highly advocate a full face helmet. To clean your visor and everything, just use Windex. That's good for plastics. Just go and wipe it with a microfiber cloth. If you want to wash things, sometimes they have cheek pads that do come out. So take the cheek pads out, get a bucket of soapy warm water, dunk it in, kind of like get the grime off and let it air dry. That should be fine. If you want to clean the outside of the stuff, once again, just the Windex microfiber cloth, and you should be good to go. If you want to deodorize it even more, get some deodorizing spray, spray it in there, call it a day. You know, maybe some antibacterial stuff. You should be good. Try not to get it on the visor itself. But overall, I mean, helmets are pretty easy to go ahead and grab and figure out. Wide range of prices. Just get the one that works for you. It's not super heavy. It's not causing you headaches when you're out putting it on and you have that problem because you didn't get it sized right or whatnot. Don't buy a used helmet, get a full face helmet, okay? So with that said, we're gonna be jumping into gloves, jackets, all the rest of the gear, and yeah, let's go ahead and answer some of those questions. All right, everybody, we're gonna be jumping into motorcycle jackets and pants. It's really important to get the ones that work for you. The main focus that we're going to be talking about is material knowledge, so understanding what different kinds of materials, different kind of riding environments, if you should get hot weather, cold weather, all-season type gear, armor only versus kind of some other stuff, leathers and textiles, just a lot of that stuff. So we're going to jump right into it. So I have some gear here. This is the current gear that I wear. This is some of the older stuff I wear, and this is some of the stuff I wear when I'm doing certain events like the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. I want to make sure I have some gear at least underneath my cool suit and whatnot. So let's go over some of the older stuff that I have. And my main focus where I live is because I have really hot weather here in Tucson. And so I have, this is probably a better camera over here. I have this, okay? So this is an overpant. This is what I've used long time ago when I just was putting this over pants or over shorts. And so then these are really good if you're gonna be riding to work and you have like slacks or other clothes and you wanna just slide these on top. And then a jacket obviously is over your actual stuff. But this is hot weather gear. This is the Rax Ultra Mesh. It's from Revzilla. Lots of airflow through here. As you can tell, it's like kind of perforated. I don't know if you can really see it actually. And then there's knee armor. And then this is a big, wide open, and it goes over boots and whatnot. This is really good gear, and I really like it. So when it comes to textiles, because this is a textile pair of pants, when it comes to textiles on the buttocks, if you can kind of see right here, it's reinforced stitch, and then on the bottom, it's gonna have extra stuff, and it's gonna be aramid fibers like Kevlar or Kovec. There's a bunch of different names for different things. It's basically just really reinforced and then abrasion resistant. And then also it doesn't allow a ton of heat transfer to go through. So when you're, a rug burn, you get that heat transfer and you get a little rug burn on your knees or whatever when you're playing as a kid. Same thing when it comes to sliding across the ground. You're going to have some friction, some heat. Also, the abrasiveness of the road is going to cause some tearing, so that's why it's reinforced and it has that different fibers instead of just like denim or just like the airflow stuff. So this one's very airflowy, but it's on the backside, and the areas that you typically slide, just like in a helmet, if you go forward, you hit your face typically. You typically slide on the buttocks, and then you start banging up the knees and sliding on the front too, and then on the sides. So they have reinforced stitching on a lot of these airflow type gear with the perforations. You're gonna have the reinforced areas on the buttocks and then in the knee area. Now on the knee area on this one, there's some armor involved. Very important because you're gonna fall down and hit your knees. You wanna protect your joints and your knees. And then some of these do have hip armor inserts. So make sure you double check that. I like getting pants with hip armor, not just knee armor, because I do wanna protect this part and this part, because if you break your hip, there's a lot of blood flow, your femoral artery goes through your pelvis, so I want to protect as much as I can. Well, we'll go ahead, we'll just talk about this one too. So this is a jacket, kind of like the same version of that, where it does have a lot of airflow, and it's going to have a lot of airflow. There we go. It's going to have a lot of airflow on the front. See all the black right there? That's all perforated, so there's airflow that goes through it. Once again, you're not falling down and just like sliding on your stomach and your chest. You typically have your arms out. You're like, oh no, and you start banging around. So this is a great visual representation of what, where all the reinforcement is. So all the white areas basically is the reinforcement that doesn't have that airflow. And so on the arms itself, let's go ahead and put it on. All the arm parts right here is gonna have that reinforcement. And then also right here, it's gonna have reinforcement. It does have elbow armor inside of it, which is very important. So you're gonna find some gear that might be super cheap, but they don't include armor. So you wanna find some gear that has armor, or find some gear that doesn't have armor, but then you have to buy the armor inserts. And typically you have them right here on the elbows and then also on the shoulders. Because if you fall down, hit your elbow, start banging around, hit your shoulders, once again, protecting joints. And so it's very important. So I have airflow coming up here. So when I'm riding, I have airflow going into my arms, into my chest. It allows some of that exhaust to come out so I'm not overheating, which is also not good. But then when I fall down, it's gonna have that reinforcement on the sides. If you noticed, when I held up the jacket, there's this big orange thing on the back. So this is back armor. So sometimes, most times actually, motorcycle jackets don't have a back armor in there. What they typically have is going to be like this gray foam, and it's just like a pad. It's not gonna protect you. So I went and bought what's called D30 or D30 armor. So it's a non-Newtonian fluid, so it's nice and flimsy until it has an impact, and then it hardens up, okay? So I made sure I bought one extra to slide it into the back. And you wanna get one that fits your jacket. Typically on Revzilla and places like that, they will have a, you should also buy type option, and it typically fits that. A lot of the back armor is about the same size. They have inserts, basically a pocket that you can put into the back. So we'll get to this one right here, but this one right here is going to be like that armor only. And you can see a lot of armor only type jackets and pants and things like that where they look like they're in riot gear. That's cool, but it doesn't offer the abrasion resistance that you typically have. And this is kind of like the same version of that, but this is like a base layer. And so I wear this underneath like a jacket, like a suit jacket for when I do the DGR, so that in the DGR what you're supposed to do is wear like suits or like some old-timey looking stuff, and it's just for looks. And we ride in a group ride, it's for charity, and just in case something happens, I do want to be protected. So I put this underneath like my suit, and so it does offer some armor. This is D30 armor also. So all the little like gray, not the black, all the gray areas have very thin D30 armor. So if I do get into a crash, hopefully it's gonna mitigate some of the injuries. Same thing for the back side also. I see that goes down the back. And then all the black areas is perforated, kind of see-through, and so that allows some airflow so I'm not super, super sweaty. I also got some leg versions of it. So these are little leg basically long underwear that goes underneath it. And so this is the front end. And so you can see how the hips on the sides right here are protected. Top of the quad is protected right here. And then a little bit of the shin, and then part of the knee at the top is also protected. Same thing with a little bit on the tailbone, the coccyx. That's a fun word to say. And yeah, so I have that, but once again, these are really good. Even like the riot gear looking stuff is if you're practicing in a parking lot and you're not really riding high speeds, you're only doing like 20 miles an hour practicing, it's really good, and you get that airflow. You're not overburdened by a ton of gear. So stunters, I really recommend wearing something at least like this. You can get movement, you have the agility and flexibility with just out the abrasion resistance. Once again, it's about risk management and managing any types of injuries. So when it comes to gear, I like to invest as much as I possibly can into the gear. So a really good helmet, doesn't have to be super expensive, but full face, EC, all that stuff. Jackets, gloves, pants, and boots. I wanna make sure I get high quality gear, not just for, well, gear just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's better in terms of protection, but it allows me to be more comfortable. So then I want to wear the gear more often. So if it's very uncomfortable, you're gonna be like, I don't wanna wear gear. I'm just gonna go for a quick ride. If you get comfortable gear, that quick ride, you'd be like, yeah, I'm just gonna put gear on. And that's what I got here. So this is from Climb. I also got their jacket. I wanted to look like a firefighter, DanDanTheFireman. So I got some that looked like turnout pants from a firefighter. I also got suspenders. And the reason why I got suspenders is because I don't like having a belt digging into my stomach when I'm bent over on a bike. So I got suspenders just to kind of help it stay up on my pants, because if you are sliding, you just don't want your pants to fall off. So I make sure I had some. So this one actually came with armor inserts in the hips, as you can tell right here. So armor inserts in the hips, so I didn't have to buy extras. So it was more of an expensive pant, but it came with all the armor and all the spots I wanted it to come into, so I didn't have to buy extra, which would have came out to maybe the same price. Also, it's more of a stretchy material, and it looks like it doesn't have a lot of airflow, but it does have a ton of airflow. It has a lot of good pockets that have Velcro and then zippers, so I'm not losing stuff outside of my pockets if I'm riding. If anybody knows, like, go to the gym and you have regular short or gym shorts and stuff doesn't want to stay in there, they fall out because you sit down. Kind of the same thing here, where when I sit down, stuff won't fall out of my pockets, so they're really good. Also armor on the knees, and if you notice, there's that reinforcement, some really good airflow, and some of these pants and some of these jackets do have like Gore-Tex, so if I get caught in the rain, I'm not gonna get super duper soaked, while also having that breathability. So it all depends on where you are and what you're doing. I would wear this, and I do wear this in the summertime, wintertime, and all that stuff. So in the wintertime, if I do have too much airflow, I just put on a little extra layers. So I'll put on some like cold gear from Under Armour or Nike, whatever you wanna do. I'll wear that, wear an extra, just like a regular shirt, and then wear the jacket. Same thing with pants. I'll wear cold gear under layer, so I'm not super duper cold, and that I could still utilize this as a full year-long riding season. But if you're out in snow and stuff, you might want to get something that doesn't have a lot of airflow, and that's important. Same thing with leathers, is that leathers, you can get perforated. A lot of the leathers don't really have perforation, and that will keep a lot of the heat in. So if you want to get like a leather jacket, leather pants, or even just like regular pants that don't have a lot of perforation, perfectly fine, that works for you. And a lot of the creature comforts, if you notice here on the bottom of the legs, so what are the engine hot parts? Yeah, well, the engine. The hot parts on a bike are the engine. And so like this has like this leather so that I'm not melting any of the textiles onto my engine hot parts or exhaust. So it does have like little creature comforts. It does have a nice little zipper on the bottom of the boot where the boot goes, and then I'm able to clip it and shorten it depending on how I want it to be snug on the boot or whatnot. So really good gear, really love it. Same thing with the jacket, it's the same materials, same everything. It's stretchy compared to something like this where it wasn't stretchy, so when I'm out reaching, it's not like pulling on my arm. I have dexterity, I have movement, I can actually do anything and everything I want, so that makes it really comfortable, and it's not like scraping against my elbow on the inside, like kind of sharp, you know, let's say threading and whatnot. So this is like really well designed. Same thing, it has the armor already. This one, it came with the armor already in it. It comes with shoulder armor, and it comes with elbow armor. And some of these have zippers, so if you have like long gauntlet gloves, you can slide these over the gauntlet gloves, or you can keep it nice and tight, or you can open it up so when you're riding, you have more airflow inside. That works really well. A lot of jackets do have, right here on the elbow and the forearm, they have adjustments so you can keep it a little tighter or loosen it up, depending on your muscular size or muscular skeletal size. And then same thing on the pants, and these pants also had it, is that on the sides there are Velcro waist adjustments, and they work really well. But once again, I like to have the suspenders to really help out. One thing that you'll notice on a lot of the pants, especially if they come with like their own version of the jacket, is that they have like this zipper on the back. And what you can do with the zipper on the back is that you can connect it typically with the jacket, and they have zippers on the back of the jacket. So you can kind of like, if you can, reach back and zip your jacket and your pants together. So if you do fall down and slide, you don't have like a gap between your jacket and your pants, and you get a little bit of a road rash there. So when it comes to a lot of this stuff, is that you do want to pick the gear that works for the material. I like textiles. They're getting really good nowadays. They're a little bit more stretchy, a little bit easier to take care of. So what I typically do is I'll take the armor out of the jacket and pants, and I'll throw it in the wash on a very delicate cycle. And don't use laundry fabric softener. Use laundry detergent, warm soapy water on delicate cycle, or follow the recommendation that they have on the inside of the jackets. Just follow that and then hang dry it. Don't put it in the dryer, and then put the armor inserts back in. So it's just like the helmet, the polystyrene foam. You don't want to degrade it with chemicals and like sweat and whatnot. So the armor you want to take out before you wash it, because the detergent can mess with it a little bit. So just follow the recommendation on the jacket and the pants and how you should wash it, but I typically warm soapy water, hang dry. Not a big deal. With leather, it's a little bit more complex. You're gonna have to take care of it, get some leather softener, leather cleaner and whatnot, kind of do a lot of hand washing. I prefer not to do that. I like to have this type of stuff, and it's really important. Also, get the gear that works for you in your area. So if it's super cold weather all the time and you ride in the cold, get something with less perforation or no perforation. Maybe even get some liners that have like quilted liners that you can get in there so you can stay warm. There's also electric type of gear where it has the like electric blanket. You can push a button and it keeps you warm, so you're not using your body heat to keep you warm, you're using external heat. That's really important. Really focus on quality. Think about it. So like these two right here is about $800. Helmet's about 200, 250, 300, 400. You can go all the way to 1,000. Gloves about 100. Boots about 200. It's a lot of money. So what I like to do is I like to think of it as, well, I'm going to replace all this in 5 years. So I just divide the cost, let's say $1,000 by 5. It's $200 a year to make sure I stay safe, or at least mitigate a lot of the risks when it comes to injuries by having high quality gear. That's how I look at it. It's an investment in my body. If it prevents me from having a broken bone, but just maybe some really bad soreness after a crash, it's already paid for itself. The goal is not to crash, but if you do, this is a very important thing. Make sure it fits well. Sometimes if you have really big thighs or a big butt, you might have to get a size higher for pants, and then the waistband is kind of like loose. That's why I like suspenders. And if you really need to, get a belt or get those cinches on the sides. Same thing with the jacket. Make sure it fits well. Go ahead and stretch out. Sit down with your pants on once you get it shipped to you, or if you're going to the store, put the pants on, sit down, see how it like rides, see where it pulls. Get the one that fits you, because if you don't and it's not comfortable, you're not going to wear it. And the whole goal is to wear it when you ride. And then make sure you actually get the armor. So if you get jackets and pants that don't have armor already in it, make sure you get some extra armor so you can put the inserts in it. If it only has knee armor on the pants and doesn't have a hip armor slot, okay. But if it does have knee armor already but doesn't have the hip armor in it, but it has a slot, get some hip armor. Same thing with the jacket. Usually they come with the armor for the shoulders and the elbows, but they don't really come with the armor for the back. And it's just that gray foam. Get yourself that orange or whatever. It could be yellow. I don't know what colors there are now, but make sure it's actually an armor, CE rated armor, okay? So make sure you do that. And if you want to get the armor only, that's cool. just be aware that you're not gonna have that abrasion resistance also. You're gonna have the impact resistance, but just not the abrasion resistance. And abrasions, you know, like road rash, that would suck if you didn't have that. So it's up to you. Manage your risk. Do what you need to do. But go ahead and get yourself something. Just get yourself something. It's very important, okay? So we're gonna be talking about gloves and boots, and yeah, it's very important too. All right, everybody, we're gonna be talking about gloves and boots. There's a bunch of different styles. When mine kind of wear out, I throw them away, so I don't have a lot of extras. But what I have here is the gloves I currently use, the boots I currently use, and why I kind of got them. And we're gonna be talking a little bit about the different types of materials. Just like jackets, you're gonna have leather, you're gonna have textiles, you're gonna have all that stuff. I like leather because they look cool. I like brown because it looks cool. When it comes to boots, there's different styles. There's leather boots, there's textile boots, there's a mixture of all of it. I want to talk about some of the features and then also why we need to have good footwear. It's really important. Same thing with gloves, but still footwear is really important. And then comfort and fit, because once again, if you don't get comfortable stuff, you're not gonna wear it. So when it comes to boots, I got these boots. These are from TCX. I wanted something a little bit higher, so you can get regular shoes that are kind of like low here. You can get mid calf, which is this, and you can get high calf, which kind of goes closer to your knee. Those were pretty cool. I had those for a while. Really comfortable, loved them. Once again, the pants can go over the top, and you can get some boots that are inside the pant, or I'm sorry, outside the pants, so the pants goes inside, so it looks kind of cool too. It all depends on you and what you want to do. Just get some boots. So I got these ones because these were designed for a little bit more flexibility. And so there's a lot of stiff boots out there, which are really good for when you're out riding, especially if you're off-road. You want to have that stiffness. If you're on road, you can have a mixture of both, but I wanted something a little bit of flexibility because when I get off the bike and I walk around, I want something that's gonna not be stiff on my arches of my feet too bad. Okay, so it's still stiff, but it's not super duper bad and stiff. A little bit more like a shoe at this point, because when I'm out doing the parking lot drills, I'm out setting up cones, I'm all doing that stuff, I'm walking and I don't want to have foot fatigue, which is a real thing. If your feet get really tired, your whole legs get tired, your body starts to get tired. So when it comes to the actual boot itself, you're gonna have protection typically on the ankle. So there's gonna be like a little insert right here that's gonna protect the ankle a little bit. You're gonna maybe have armor, like a TPU, so thermoplastic, on the back end. And then either a steel toe, or you're gonna have at least some protection on the front right here. It's not super duper important. I mean, when you get into a crash, you're gonna be banging around in your legs, and I'm talking about like you're fumbling on the ground. On an impact with a car, like a T-bone incident where your leg is down on the side of the bike, T-bones, this is gonna protect a little bit. There's not much that's gonna protect your legs when it comes to a car crash, which sucks. But when it comes to like a solo incident, which typically happens for motorcycle riders, it's gonna protect a lot when it comes to injuries and stuff. So this one right here, on this side, I don't like zippers, or not zippers, but shoelaces. I like zippers. I don't like shoelaces because if I have a bunch of like hanging shoelaces, like the rabbit ears, and I go to step off the bike and one of the rabbit ears grabs the peg, it's gonna kind of like pull me over. So I don't like to have shoelaces, and if you do have boots that have shoelaces, or you like some boots that have shoelaces, tuck them in so that the ears aren't flopping everywhere. I like zippers, and that's what this is right here. So this is a very cool system. Now it can be on the front or it can be on the back. This is on the side. And so as you can tell, just a little, let's go over here. As you can tell, you're gonna have that zipper and then it's gonna have a Velcro closure, but right here, it's gonna help prevent any type of water. And what I mean by that is that it is, you can't really see. There's a tag here that says Gore-Tex, so it's gonna help prevent a little bit of water kind of going through there, which is great because if you get into a lot of rain, you're gonna get soaked. You're gonna get absolutely soaked, so this is gonna help prevent a lot of that. These ones, let's go on back over here. These ones have like little air holes on the bottom, and I got that because this was supposed to be meant for like a 3-season. So a little bit of rain, a little bit of water resistance and proofing, but also has airflow because in my area, when it's super hot, I want some airflow on the bottom of my feet too. So I got that. Another feature that most motorcycle boots have is a mid-shank sole. and it could be steel, it could be carbon fiber, it could be whatever, but it's supposed to add some strength to the bottom of your foot. You're not supposed to put the middle of your foot on the peg. You're supposed to put it over here on the ball of the foot, but this will help prevent your foot kind of collapsing on that peg, which can cause some foot fatigue. So they have that for firefighter boots too, because we're climbing rungs on a ladder. Same thing here. It's going to have a little bit more strength on the bottom. So there's a lot of features here. Like I said, you can have ones that are just kind of like shoes. Once again, what are you losing out? You're losing out on all this, which is going to be protection. Sometimes there's plastic protection here, so if you get rocks, it's going to help protect that, which sucks. I've had rocks hit me in the shin. Thankfully, I had this in my higher boots. So if you don't, and you only have like a shoe, that's fine. You're just going to possibly get some rocks or debris. It doesn't happen a lot, but it can. With regular motorcycle shoes, because they do make them, they look like Vans and Converse and high tops and a lot of cool looking shoes. A lot of comfort when you're off the bike and they look normal. So not a lot of people think that you're riding. If you get the full get up, that doesn't look like you're riding. Because you can get motorcycle pants and jackets that don't look like motorcycle pants and jackets. They typically do have that protection for the ankle, just not up here. Higher boots have a little bit more protection for the rocks and debris, but there's not much when it comes to armor. It's just a little extra so you're not getting that rocks and debris. I like this. Kind of going back to the high top, if you get off-road boots, they do have that armor. They do have that stuff. So a little off-roading, dual sport riding boots, they do have that. Same thing with like really high, kind of like this, but it's like street riding, racing. They do have more armor. So it's really important. Very comfy. Grab ones that are comfy. Grab ones that have the protection. They should have ankle protection, toe protection, heel protection, that mid-shank sole on the bottom. And then you can start going for features like I did, where it got some airflow, a little bit of waterproofing, the zippers on the side. I don't want to have laces. Kind of start going that route. When it comes to gloves, this is my little glove holder that I can do that. When it comes to gloves, kind of the same thing. When it comes to boots, you kind of go for features, but now it's for your hands, okay? So here's my glove. This is a fun little glove. I love it. I bought it from a little dealership. You can find a lot like this. They can either be leather like this one, or it can be textiles. So it all really depends on what you want. So I look for the features though. So I want reinforced stitching. You can kind of tell. Let me get my head out of the way. So you see how there's a bunch of stitching, a lot of the stitching, and then where the parts that meet, because like a glove isn't just one big piece. It's not like a nitrile glove where it's just one piece. It's a bunch of different pieces together, so you want to have good reinforced stitching. Same thing with jackets, same thing with boots, but you want to have good reinforced stitching, and you can see that on the inside right there. See how there's like 2 lines of stitching for that inside part? Very important, because you don't want it to fall apart either. If you noticed, this little black piece right there, that is a thermoplastic TPU, whatever. And so when you do hit the ground, it's gonna slide versus like grab and then yank your hand. So that's really good. I like that. Also, you can see the knuckle protection right here. So when we're falling down and we're like, oh no, crap, hit the ground, but then we're still tumbling, top of your hand can also hit the ground. Also, when you're riding and you have a good grip right here, anything that's gonna hit your knuckles like rocks or a bee, or hopefully not a deer, but you have other problems if you have that. It's gonna help protect your knuckles. You don't wanna have a broken knuckle when you're trying to ride, and then now you have to like reach for the front brake with a broken knuckle. Not good. Another feature that I look for me personally, because I like to have my phone on my handlebars for the GPS, songs, music and whatnot, combined with my Cardo Pack Talk, is that I have these right here. Let's get myself out of there. I have this right here. And so what that does, it allows me to utilize the phone. Also, a lot of the new motorcycles nowadays have a TFT display, which is that fancy little display where you can kind of swipe things around. It's not analog anymore. So this also helps with that. So if you have anything that you want to do for information, you can swipe it without having to take your glove off, do it, put your glove back on. Little creature comforts, makes it easier. It's not, I'm not getting this because I want you to use your phone and mess with your controls and dash and everything the whole time, but it does make it easier so that when you have to, you can. This is a short gauntlet glove, and so what that means is that it just barely covers, let's go and take my watch off so you have a better visualization of that. What that means, it's only covering just a little bit of the wrist. Some of them just don't even cover this last part right here, so it's more like this. And so what that is it's short. And so for hot weather, it's nice because then you get airflow inside your jacket if you have it short. So with this one, I can put my jacket over just a little bit, get some airflow. But they do have really long gauntlet gloves where that comes out even more, and you see that with like a lot of like MotoGP or track riding where it's like super hard plastic all the way through. Sometimes leather gloves have this big flare out right here, and what that does is that in cold weather, it doesn't allow the cold weather to get inside the jacket since this is over the jacket. So the air is going to go over, not in your jacket. So that really helps out. Also, some of those do have armor on that, and it kind of keeps your wrist stabilized, so you're not able to really do this a lot. It keeps it stabilized, and that's going to help out in a crash too. That's why MotoGP and track riding, they probably, well, MotoGP does, but usually like on a track day, they require gauntlet gloves with that armor so it can protect your wrist also. But when it comes to like regular commuting or riding regular, this is perfectly fine for me. I like it. I'll take that risk myself. But yeah, make sure you get a glove that fits you. If you have a leather glove, you might get one that's a little snug. It'll loosen up. Textiles, they typically don't loosen up. But you don't want one that's like super restrictive to where you can't even bend your fingers or even straighten them out. You want ones that you actually have good flexibility and dexterity on it. And the reason why I really recommend gloves, obviously for the protection, but when your hands are sweaty, you could slip on the throttle, you could slip on the hand grip. If your hands are sweaty inside here, the outside's not. And so you're gonna have better tactile feel, you're gonna be able to grip the motorcycle handlebars a little bit easier, you're not gonna slide off, so getting gloves is important. So outside of the protection, that's another reason why I get gloves. Same thing for here, outside of just the protection, if you just have regular shoes, they're not gonna be super grippy on the bottom, especially if you use them all the time and they like wore out. I only wear these when I ride, so the bottoms are pretty good. They're gonna last forever pretty much. And so when you stop at a stoplight and you put your foot down, you're gonna have that extra grip. Same thing if you put your foot on the peg, you're gonna get that extra grip. So having good grip, these are the 2 points of contact basically for you and the motorcycle outside of you gripping the tank with your knees. Gripping here, fine. Putting grip and traction on the ground just like a motorcycle tire. So grab yourself some motorcycle pants, jackets, gloves, boots, and a full face helmet. Check out the types of stuff that you want, either long or high or short boots, gauntlet gloves, short gauntlet, whatever it is, depending on your type of riding, either hot or you're gonna be out on the track a lot, leather, textiles, it all kind of depends on what you wanna look like or the types of protection you want. Once again, leather is really good. Textiles are getting really good too. Abrasion resistance, that's the main thing there. Check for any features like the touchscreen stuff on the gloves. Check for features here if you want to get waterproofing, airflow, a little bit more flexibility, stuff that's meant for walking, or more stiffness if you want more stiffness if you're out more off-roading or you just like the feeling of stiff boots. It's kind of fun walking on stiff boots, kind of like walking with ski boots. You're kind of like clunk, 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 clunk. But you see what I mean when it comes to setting up cones and actually going for long walks if you're going to go somewhere and do some errands. I like to have stuff that has a little bit of a give. And same thing, you know, with comfort. If it's not comfortable for you, you're not going to wear it. Okay, so if you're not going to wear it, you wasted your investment, and on top of that, you're taking a higher risk when you're out riding. So if it's a short ride, you're like, I'm not going to wear it because it doesn't feel good. Not a good thing. So you want to get gear that feels good, looks good, makes you want to wear it, so that when you do short rides, even long rides, whatever it is, you're going to put it on. Okay, so make sure you check it out, try it all on, and have fun with it. If you want to look like a Power Ranger, look like a Power Ranger. If you want to look like somebody that's just riding, but then like when you get off the bike, it looks like you're not riding. They do make some really cool denim jeans that are heavy denim with reinforced stitching and aramid fibers inside. Doesn't look like you're wearing motorcycle pants. Cool, same thing with jackets. They make some boots that don't look like it. If you put the pant over the top, you only see this bottom part anyways. So just get ones that kind of look good. And then your gloves, if you want to get a glove holder, we sell these. If not, you can just put them inside your helmet, carry your helmet like it's a purse. Simple. So all depends on what you want to do. Just get gear, very important, head to toe, protect yourself. And yeah, let's get to riding.